taken out here, first of all, by KMT. Evelyn banned by Karont3 and Shyvana for KMT.
Okay, well that makes a fair bit of sense. We did see Karont3 running I suppose the technical term now is becoming Wombo Combo composition. I think they ran Orianna, Malphite, and Sona all at once, which is such a dangerous composition. If you do fall behind against that, you end up losing out a lot in terms of your options against that. But that being said, it didn't work out that well for them before.
No, didn't work out for them at all. Apparently, one person is not in Champion Select, so once our producer wakes up and switches the screen. There we go. Good job, Tim. Yeah, apparently one person wasn't in Champion Select there. He was in the lobby all on his own. Sad times for him.
Oh.
But that'll get fixed here in a second and we'll be all ready to go back into it. So, yeah, Tremnek just getting himself in, doing a rejoin, and we get back into the picks and bans.
Yeah, that did seem like serious bans, so rebanning the same stuff, obviously, here. Malphite being taken out of it, as we mentioned. Evelyn, nothing too surprising in that respect.
Yeah.
But other than, it's just mostly the only one that's really standing out as like a strategic ban rather than just a, we don't want this overpowered champion in our game.
Yeah.
Ban is Malphite because he's not really so much overpowered as just really good in certain situations.
Indeed. Kassadin taken out here as well by Karont3. And yeah, Kassadin always... I'm not sure I 100% agree banning it out on the blue side, because I think you can always have something strong... sorry, on the purple side, the red side, because I think you can always save him as your last pick or leave him out there, or, you know, take him as... or if he gets first picked by the blue side, okay, then you can just pick up a counter at some point.
Yeah, it does kind of restrict your options though, because it means you can't, if you got something, say you've got a composition with a mid lane in mind, for instance Orianna, then you can't safely pick that up. You can't say, well, we're definitely going to be able to run that safely because we know Kassadin's out of the picture, which is what they can now do if that's what they want. I don't think Teemo will be the pick here. It's not impossible, and it wouldn't be the first time we'd seen a team that didn't have much hope of progressing play Teemo, shall we say.
Are you calling out TCM on this or what?
TCM?
Sorry, TSM. Oops.
I couldn't possibly say.
You're going to get hated now for that.
I'm not calling out. I don't have any problem with it. It's just, it wouldn't be the first time to be done.
Well,
teams.
also in GPL, Singapore Sentinels play Teemo as AD carry, so let's not count it out of this one just yet.
He's not even been picked, so yeah.
He's not been picked in that round anyway. But Renekton and Jarvan were picked up here for Karont3. We've seen Renekton time and time again, almost bored of saying it by now, how it actually goes for him. I mean, super ridiculously strong across the board, really.
Yeah, Renekton is the generalist top laner. You play him against anything and he works. You play him in a 2v1 lane and he works. You play him mid lane because you're mad and he works there too. It's just, at that point, there are a couple of characters that can outshine him on individual bases. Stuff like Shyvana. She can just straight up outfight him one-on-one, but, you know, not surprised to see that pick up. But Mundo, very, very popular at the moment, very, very strong indeed. Nidalee, however, has not been seen very much. She was nerfed relatively recently, but she is very, very strong at the moment. Does signal, to me at least, poke siege, because all three of those champions have high damage, long-range nukes to poke with.
Yeah, indeed. And I don't know, we've seen Nidalee being banned out against KMT in the games that we've seen them. I'm kind of surprised not to actually have that again. I think it's always dangerous. As you said, Nidalee had the changes done where, you know, to stop you pouncing away from a spear to make the damage even more incredible, but still, she hurts, especially if she gets rolling as well. Are we going to see, well, we are going to see a Jinx, because that's already been locked in here for Jimbones, and possibly Syndra added into there, and neptuNo was hovering over. Okay, so I'll just shut up for now, and it's going to be Sona.
Yeah, Karont3 seemed to like messing with us on the picks there, because I saw the Anivia for a second. I was thinking, well, passive laning is generally more favored nowadays, and versus Nidalee there wouldn't be that much to worry about. But no. I mean, it could still happen. Obviously, it's an option, but taking the Sona does just give them that safe pick. They know they like that Sona support. They know they like AoE comps, and they're already building one, even in spite of the lack of their favored top laner for that purpose. Renekton does do very well, surprisingly, at that too. However, running Jinx on that does mean they're a little bit looking to kind of get some siege potential there, but that doesn't seem particularly wise if you're up against an opposing team that seems to be almost exclusively built to poke and siege.
Indeed, and we see Olaf being hovered over here for Karont3. No support up until now, but that will be changed here. Looks like Vander is going to get to lock in what he wants, and that will be a Fiddlesticks that they decide with. And again, you know, the likes of Dark Wind, which spreads throughout your team as you're trying to siege up against, you know, the likes of Caitlyn with the axes from Olaf and the spears from Nidalee, always a real pain.
Yeah, getting Fiddlesticks Caitlyn is a really good windfall for them, because they are building a siege poke comp. A dark windfall for them indeed. Thank you, Freak. They are able now essentially to not only siege, go very close to towers, poke them down with the Caitlyn damage, but if Karont3 trying to engage upon them, they're going to have to contend with the Fiddlesticks Fear, and that makes life very, very difficult. It's also even more disruptive because Dark Winding, while they're in that siege situation, makes it very fiddly and difficult to engage, because it messes up the timing on various engagement abilities. It can really, really mess with people.
Well, the final pick here for Karont3, for neptuNo in particular, is going to be Lissandra.
Oh, okay, Lissandra does kind of fit with the theme here. AoE engage. That's basically what they are going for with their entire team composition. If that doesn't work for them, if they are unable to make those engages happen, they could have some serious problems though, and if they fall too far behind, they're going to have to contend with being kited backwards when they try and engage and that not working, but also having no recourse when they're being sieged in.
I'm allergic to Lissandra, apparently.
Quite severely allergic.
Yes, she's going to keel over and die at this point. I need Soraka to come in and heal me up.
But no.
Exactly.
I don't think there's any puns.
No,
there.
none there.
Joe.
You should let it be. But we are going to be moving into
says you, yeah.
with Dark Windfall and all that great stuff. Yeah, we are going to be getting into game. Of course, we have a 3-minute delay on this one, which basically gives us a little bit of time to let you guys know how you can get involved with the whole promotion thing. We still have tickets available for in North America and in Europe, so you can find those if you want to come and watch those games over at lolesports.com. They're really cheap anyway, so I can recommend that for sure.
Yeah, well, you have probably got more experience than most of our viewers at being at these events.
That's definitely a possibility, but I won't actually be there, which is a sad thing for me.
Oh.
No, my parents are actually visiting me in Cologne for the first time in 5 years, so they're finally getting around to that one. So fortunately, not going to be there. But you know, we've got plenty of other guys who are pretty good at commentating.
Are you sure you don't have any slots open?
Not sure about that one.
That sucks.
Shut down. But yeah, we are in the delay period, so we're going to get into this one. As you said, an important game in terms of more to do with Karont3, I'd say, because they're 1-for-1 because of this match, which should have been the 4th match of day 1. Turns out to be the 3rd game of day 3, actually, after all the rescheduling that we've done. But it's going to give Karont3 now the chance to be catching up in terms of games played. After this, they've got to play the Copenhagen Wolves. And after that, they finish off against TCM. So actually, this is a must-win game for them if they're to progress.
Yeah, they are now in a situation, if they can win this game, it puts them on a decent footing, essentially roughly equal with TCM. Playing against Copenhagen Wolves, though, they may almost want, like, I don't mean to brag on Copenhagen Wolves' behalf here, but it may almost be worth more for KMT to focus more on their other games and just accept that Copenhagen Wolves are an extremely good team. I don't want to say, you know, give up, but, you know, planning is valuable, and you only have so much time.
It is, but at the same time, if the Wolves are feeling, you know, we're already qualified for this one, guys, we can, you know, let off the pedal a little bit. We can basically not show any strategy whatsoever around it. Then there's still a chance to actually take them down. And I think if you go into every game with the mindset of KMT that we can win this one, whether that's against Karont3 right now who are 0 for 3, or the Wolves who are 3 for 0, if you pick up a surprise win along the way there, that's probably gonna push them into a position, you know, where they could qualify. I mean, yes, they've got to. If they beat Karont3 and they pull off a surprise win against the Copenhagen Wolves, again, it all comes then down to that final game against TCM.
So much riding on that particular matchup. Yeah. I mean, assuming things go the way we would predict them to, that is what is just going to decide absolutely everything. It's possible, though, that situation will not occur, and that game becomes almost irrelevant. For instance, if KMT lose this game and the next game, that puts them, pretty much out of it, whatever they do at that point.
Well, actually not. That's the funny thing, because it had put them at 1 for 3. And TCM are 2 for 2. So if they still beat TCM, they'd be tied with them. So even if they lose these next two games...
that would mean they would win as well, because if you have a winning record in a tie against that team, you win, don't you?
As far as I know, yes. I think if KMT and TCM are tied, then the winner of that final game will technically go through anyway, even if they're tied up. So there is literally everything riding on that final game. But we've got a lot to come between now and then. I mean, STO, who are 0 for 3, Karont3, who are 0 for 3, they can still get to a 2-3 position in the group.
Anything can happen. Some things are much less likely to happen than others, though. But we are actually underway now. So, Joe, what are you thinking?
I think this is KMT's game to lose almost. I mean, again, I don't want to bash on Karont3 or anything, or really say that they're not capable of winning this game, because that is certainly not going to be the case. But I think that KMT on paper and form-wise have shown us here that they are the stronger of these two teams. But as such, Karont3 might try and go for something a little bit crazy this game. I mean, they don't have that much to lose. As I said, they still can get through with a 2-3, but chances not huge.
Yeah, and Karont3 at this point, they cannot afford for things to go wrong. But at the same time, things can go wrong very, very slowly, and they have an explosive team composition. They get ahead early, they can really, really punish really, really hard just by engaging over and over and over again. They also actually do have pretty decent map control. They just can't let KMT get into the situation where they are split pushing with Xaxus and then having him move down to join up with the team. And they can't allow themselves to get pushed back into a situation where they are behind at a tower, slowly being poked down and unable to make an engage happen.
Look at that. That's just going straight in there from that one. The flag coming down from Jarvan, so they know that there's at least a couple of people on that top side. Dragon's going to get forced out of the blue buff area here as well, and KMT basically just shoveling themselves in on the enemy blue buff. They should be able to take this one away. I don't imagine that Dragon will come over and try and stop this one from happening, so it is going to be Jankos that does get himself the enemy blue. The question is now whether they can hold their own, or whether they'll even try for that.
Well, they know that there's a 2v1 swap up here. That's why Olaf is actually going for the invade. He knows he has the support if that is what's going to happen. And Overpow has a red buff, by the way.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to make Lissandra's life very difficult at this stage of the game, because Nidalee, normally not a very high damage mid laner at the start of the game, because she's got the red buff, because she's got the level advantage, Lissandra is forced away from the minions, which puts her straight into spear arc range there. That's really, really dangerous for her, and it'll disappear as time goes by, but that actually changes the whole dynamic of the game because Lissandra normally is going to push Nidalee to her tower and cost her a lot of CS early on.
Yeah, that's just overall not a good start here for Karont3, is it? The steal from Overpow's spear, getting him the red buff, which means that Eco didn't get his red. His blue was stolen away. Olaf secured his own blue as well, and now Olaf's going to get his own red. Like, literally the worst start that could have happened, I think, without him dying.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty fair assessment right now. And well, KMT, they are getting their momentum going as a result of that. They've also started to put quite a lot of damage on this bottom tower. You can see a massive, massive wave has built up. Mundo, you would actually think, is a weaker tower supporting top laner, but he's not the one where it looks like they're going to be babysitting. Jarvan in bot lane, not actually going to be doing anything himself either because of that poor start. He's normally at this time would have the potential to go for an aggressive gank, but as a result, KMT are able to now just do as much damage as they want without fearing retaliation.
Yeah, sat back and soaking up the farm as they go from this one. They're ahead on all fronts, really. The AD carries are tied at this point, so I'll not say that one of those two has an early lead, but Xaxus here is going to get the next wave coming up onto him very shortly, and he's should be able to soak up a bit more of his pressure, but Jimbone's doing a lot of damage to the tower already. Actually, Jankos coming around will just sidestep the zap, which would have slowed him down to a point where he couldn't have got involved there anyway.
Yeah, indeed. Jinx, Sona, a lot of damage to come out, and they will push lanes decently by virtue of Jinx being very good at sieging the actual tower, but there's a gank in mid.
Yeah, they're going in towards Overpow. Actually uses Cleanse and Flash from that one. neptuNo did catch the spear at the end, and, well, it's a good try, and really nothing used for that in terms of flashes. They didn't put the ignite down and what have you, so they can come back and do that all over again, knowing that Overpow doesn't have a flash, doesn't have a cleanse, and it actually looks like Eco is going to try for that.
Yeah, but without that cleanse, he's playing very, very defensively. I would actually say here that was a very smart pickup, though, taking cleanse on Nidalee, aware of how dangerous the gank situation was. Lissandra can claw in for a gank with pretty much no warning at all, and couple that with Jarvan with the flag and drag to follow that up. That just becomes so scary to deal with, but they're actually going for a gank on top.
Yeah, and this is so scary to get away from. Double slows, axes, and cleavers coming in there. Jimbone's actually trying to get in on towards Jankos right now, but he's got to get through Mundo. Also going very low, flashing from Jimbone's. I think he might have gone a little bit too deep from this one. He puts the chompers down, but they won't land. And now we see neptuNo headed up towards this top lane. Xaxus had been expecting that. Oh no, he actually wanted to get in there for the ward. Xaxus is going to die to this one, and neptuNo escaping over with the claw.
Yeah, a little bit interesting that I believe that was a fail flash there by Xaxus right at the end, unable to get away, but even being there in the first place, understandable, wanting to get that vision, but he wasn't going to be staying in lane anyway, so possibly not worth it. But there is a teleport in the top lane, and Jims is in trouble.
Yeah, teleport coming in there. Jimbo puts down the flame chompers, but as I said, cleavers and axes, double slows. You can cleanse one, but you can't cleanse them both. They pick up the axe, and Xaxus returns straight into lane and gets a kill.
And that means that now the AD and support have kind of been desynchronized. They keep dying and then respawning when the other one comes back in. Dying again and then respawning when the other one comes back in. So it's very, very messy, and that means they won't be able to push towers very, very hard. They were already up against it in the tower race because they had a weaker pushing lane. Kaylin is already almost completely taking that bottom tower. Look at the top though, and that's like nearly half.
And there is that tower going down, and yet half HP basically is what's left on the top side of things. Meanwhile, in the middle, we see neptuNo going in on towards Overpowered. He tries to get away. Actually, he's gonna heal, but there's the finisher from neptuNo. Close stuff from Overpower, but and we said it earlier on, using both the cleanse and the flash leaves him very vulnerable, and they exploit that.
Yeah, even after level 6, with the amount of lockdown that Karont3 have, it's just an incredibly difficult thing to deal with if you are Overpow. However, with that tower now gone, and with Nidalee now hitting level 6, KMT have the chance now to start applying a lot of map pressure. They're actually going for a blue buff steal here, and I don't think Lissandra knows it, so doesn't look like they're going to contest it at all.
No, but Dragon is next on the menu. And that would be the actual Dragon rather than Renekton, who is, of course, Dragon.
Not playing Dragon today, though.
Interesting. This top turret is going to die, though. Jimbone's actually finishing that one off, gets a speed boost, of course, when he takes that one down, but that's really just the reply from this. In KMT, trading turrets, but taking Dragon at the same time, come out ahead in this one.
Yes, indeed. Karont3 are possibly... I mean, they're not falling behind massively at the moment, but they're definitely losing a little bit on that momentum. KMT will want to go back fairly shortly on several of their major players at the moment, but they've actually got a good opportunity to do that. Mid lane and bottom lane could go back relatively safely, although it does look like Nidalee might need to return to mid just to keep that tower up.
And also with a blue buff in hand here as well. Taking the safe route around the back. I think that's a wise choice at this point. Lissandra's ultimate actually coming off cooldown here pretty shortly. And now Jimbone's up at level 6 as well. Wow, that's a big spear coming through. Neptune losing half of his health. But they need to react to this one. Although the spears do a good job at keeping them away, that's so to be said. They need to be careful because the rest of the team pushing around. Eco is there as well. Super Mega Death Rocket pushed through by Jimbones. I think that might have been a little bit too early.
Yeah, looking to join up with the rest of his team's burst. If they had been able to land the CC, the full damage combos, that Mega Rocket might have been just enough to tip someone over into death. But as it happened, the team ended up making a call to not follow that up, and that's unfortunate. But now you're starting to see the poke come in from KMT's composition here. K3, they can't go near the tower.
No, and that's what happens if they do. Dark Wind coming around the back as well. Eco basically has to soak things up, but he's also not particularly tanky at this point. There goes another spear, nicely dodged this time by Tremnek. And actually, Lissandra neptuNo did decide to go up to that top lane to stop Mundo picking off that outer turret on that side of things as well.
This is the exact situation I said Karont3 needed to avoid. They need to avoid being split pushed in by Mundo, while KMT in general forms up for a push. But it does look like the ultimate was popped by Xaxus. I think he was just a little bit paranoid.
It was fine either way. So much health. Got a Giant's Belt in there already. And I tell you what, KMT might try and close in here on this top lane. Lissandra, who obviously does have that claw to get away with, but you can't use it if you're feared and silenced by the Fiddlesticks. And neptuNo, rightly so, I think, deciding here to get away from things as early as he possibly can. Vander actually should be able to stop him, though, and that's just annoyance pure.
Stopping the recoil slows down the response to this tower, though. They may be able to either move up a little bit further as a result of that, or look to just rotate out and give themselves a little bit more time to recall without being concerned about their own towers. So stopping someone recalling sometimes is actually not just annoyance, it's just a little bit more influential, because if you can see at bot lane, Olaf is up to a tower again.
Yeah, he's on that inner tower here. Jankos going to be hammering away on that one, and probably going to leave with about half of its health gone at this stage as the rest of Karont3 start to come in there, and pretty much exactly half of its health being taken away. And that will be a welcome sign for them, knowing they can return to that and pretty much clear it out in a flash. I mean, they've already got that amazing siege potential. If the towers are low, it makes getting the job done a lot easier for them.
Yeah, the damage to towers on the outer and inner rings, as it were, is obviously going to be permanent, and that just makes it all the more valuable. However, it's not going to be easy to make a play on that particular tower right now. Generally, a composition like KMT's is more favored by forming up and pushing the mid lane. They will do split pushing, but Mundo is mostly going to be top, and opportunistic pushing, like we saw there from Jankos, might go to bot lane, but mostly he'll actually try and stick with the team or kind of in the jungle between Mundo and the rest of the team.
A pink ward actually put down there in the tri-bush, as in the top side there, as Overpow does clear that one out. And with these duos, I say duo, that's obviously Olaf and Fiddlesticks rather than Caitlyn and Fiddlesticks. In this top lane, actually, Xaxus doing a good amount of damage. Dragon actually going to pop here his ultimate, and Xaxus will do exactly the same and just goes charging on away.
Yeah, walking out because he just won't get pinned down by Renekton. He doesn't have enough crowd control. Even if he had like a Phage or a Frozen Mallet, he wouldn't be able to chase down Mundo with Ultimate and Burning Agony active. And now Xaxus is actually able to come back in. He's got more sustain, and over time, he will grind down Dragon like this.
This is very, very dangerous, though, on the blue buff here. We see that KMT starting to get wards down, and they see 3 men are here. Might be up to a Nidalee Spear or a Smite from Jankos to steal this one away, but either way, they've got to stay very, very cautious about it as they do go in there, and there we see the pickup. Jankos gets that blue buff. There is a crescendo coming back, but they can stick to them here. Ace in the hole goes through. That will pick up Tremnek, and on the backside, neptuNo trying to get away, will get away to the claw. But they can make that play that we were talking about on this bottom tower, if only it wasn't for the actual wave, which is pushed a little bit further up. They may have a go at middle, though.
Yeah, they can just go for mid right now because Xaxus is actually cutting off Dragon, and that gives them a free chance to put down extra damage. Bonus attack speed from Nidalee, and Caitlyn obviously doing a lot of damage as well, and Vander, more annoyance with Xaxus.
Yes, gonna continue on that one, and there we see Vander moving in, and a flash from Dragon. As that turret does go down. So, fairly low scoring game in terms of the kill score, but not in terms of towers. 4-1 right now is what KMT have in the lead, and that translates to a 4,500 gold lead for them.
Yeah, it's KMT's composition working just as planned right now. They are really, really executing everything very, very well, and Karont3 are not finding the opportunities to engage. They have to engage or they will gradually get ground down, much as we're seeing already, but they're not able to do so at the moment, and if this continues, it may even get to a point where they can't team fight properly.
Xaxus continues to be that a big annoyance at the top side. We actually have a Dragon on the board now as well, so we'll see if KMT actually head down for that one. I'm expecting them to do so since they actually picked up the first Dragon of the game. They've got a lot of deep wards in here towards the Karont3 jungle as well, and so far everything going to plan for KMT.
Yep, just as they would want it to be. Xaxus is once again fighting Dragon, and these fights go in Xaxus' favor. His ult is much shorter cooldown.
Yeah, and Dragon here actually taking a lot of damage. Going to be forced to pop Dominus, and that's exactly what he's trying to bait out of him every single time that he goes up there. And so far, he's certainly managing that. Got that Sunfire cape now in there, and the Dragon does get picked up by Jankos.
Yeah, Jankos, it's objective control, and it's being taken to the nth degree here. The composition that KMT are running is sacrificing a lot of their ability to team fight. If they were getting engaged upon, they would be losing the fight, like almost regardless of the player's skill. But they are just constantly keeping Karont3 out of the position they want to be in, and they are just constantly applying pressure, and I don't think at the moment that Karont3 really have an answer to it.
Celaver really racking up the CS here, actually behind Jimbones technically in terms of the farm, but you can see here pushing onto this tower. Jimbones actually alone on that one, and Celaver's got enough damage to finish it off all on his own, tanking up the last hit from it as well. And that is now only this here turret on the upper lane, the top lane. Obviously is technically the upper lane as well, I suppose, but the inner turret on that top lane is the only one that now stands outside of the base of Karont3.
Yeah, it's going to get a little more difficult now for KMT, obviously considering the regeneration of the inhibitor turrets, but it's not very fast regen, and they seem to be proving quite effectively they can force them away.
Oh, neptuNo trying to force them off of that one, throwing out the claw and making sure that they're aware of that one as Eco using everything there. The Super Mega Death Rocket comes flying by. Celaver actually is a bloodthirster, so he can get back into fights and manage to get himself healed back up as he goes. In fact, he's just doing the raids here to make sure he gets to that point. This upper turret is going to be going down, and now we see neptuNo taking a lot of damage as he dives in, but they've managed to kill off support. Vander is down, and this is a 5v3 now. Celaver needs to get around. They kill off Jankos as well, and I'm now not sure that Celaver needs to be there. He was actually doing the red buff, which he did manage to steal off, but that's a good pickup for a Karont3. Good couple of kills.
KMT finally making a slip up, and Karont3 really pounced on it. You could see how many flashes were burned there. They were able to make that engagement basically because of Lissandra. And yes, that is really, really good for them. Yes, that now means that they have an opportunity to start making proactive moves themselves. But they will not have that flash next time. They might have Jarvan. And next time, KMT are going to be a little more cautious. They were getting quite overconfident there, pushing that aggressively while Caitlyn was nowhere near.
So, I noticed 2,600 gold for Overpow before he just recalled. Need to see Large Rod plus those Sorcerer's Shoes coming in as well. That makes these spears sting a little, especially if he gets the max range on them as well. But this game definitely not over for Karont3, but they need to start working into positions to, you know, get some of these objectives, because that's where they've been strangled out at this point.
Yeah, this isn't a game where they need to play defensively until stuff works out for them late game.
Because that just won't happen.
Yeah, they will never be better at controlling objectives than KMT. But they need to get control over this game, and they need to start pushing them back. At the moment, though, they just don't seem to have the means, and they have to be very careful about where they go. They've got some wards of their own, so they're not going to be completely blindsided usually. But KMT are controlling the map, much as we've seen continually. And even Mundo, for instance, is pulling 2 men to bot, and he still has teleport.
Yeah, Jinx Sona coming down for that one. Teleport off cooldown. He's got that Spirit Visage plus the Sunfire Cape. This is a Baron right here. I mean, KMT, they've got the pink ward down on it. Vander starts off the drain on that one. That's actually going to be keeping pushing from this one. So they've got a decision to make. I mean, Xaxus doesn't need to go there right now. When they see Renekton, that might change. Mega Death Rocket actually going in towards Overpow here. He's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to heal up from that one. I think he should be able to escape it as well. Meanwhile, Baron was stopped there as the spear does in fact land. And now Xaxus is coming in. The rest of the team going to close around. Are they going to be able to get in? Jankos slowed by the zap. They do, of course, lose the support. Ace in the hole going to go through. No, not quite enough damage to finish off neptuNo. And they run away, just about surviving. Jimbones actually is going to cleanse, gets feared back, and they keep going for this one. A spear flashes in. Jimbones sidesteps that one. What, that Baron attempt, not able to finish it off. They almost got 2 kills for it, got 1 in the end on towards Tremnek, and now they might be able to have a good go at this inhib turret.
And that was all because Overpow was applying pressure across the map. Lissandra thought she could kill him one-on-one there, but could not manage to do it, and now the inhib tower is falling very low.
Oh, Jinx just took a big spear there as well, as they do go in. Dragon at half HP. He's actually going to get shredded down there. Is the Cataclysm coming in, but 2 of them will die, and that is a bit of a whitewash fight. Overpow and Jankos did go low, but they've got the heals coming out of Nidalee. Considerable size at this point as well. They might keep pushing through. Spear not quite got the range to land on towards Tremnek. Jinx forced right back out of the fight, will zap in. The spears continue to come from the backside, but that is the inhibitor down for KMT.
Yeah, now having that inhibitor down means they have even more map control than they already had. Not only are their champions better at controlling, not only is their warding situation better, they are also just have their minions doing half the work for them. Baron is completely open if they want it. Karont3 cannot rush that down in return if KMT were to all recall. They're kind of just sat there waiting for an opportunity that just isn't coming.
I can see that Overpower reluctant to go home and spend the almost 1,600 gold that he has in his pocket now. But why, when there's a decent wave to farm out on this top side as well? Might as well take what's in front of you there and get going with that one. And they start to move back towards, or they start to move out towards Baron there, did Karont3. Walking over wards as they go, though. So still in a dangerous position. Xaxus already started to replenish those wards on the top side of the Karont3 map. And they're spread out at this point. They're going to try and catch Jimbones, and it only takes 1 axe to land, and there is the axe. And Jimbones, I'm sorry, but you're not going to escape from this one. Olaf can't be stopped by the Flame Chompers. There is the drain coming in. Jankos finishes off.
Yeah, no cleanse available for Jinx means no way he can get away from that. And even if he had cleanse there, Olaf could have chased that down. Ghost is a really, really powerful chasing ability on Olaf.
Picks up his axe and throws it again. You've got no second cleanse.
Xaxus in the top lane could be in trouble here.
Yeah, he's going to be pushed down by 2 men. But
or not.
Yeah, but he's Mundo, you know. Some fire cape. He's healing now. 83 a tick he's getting from that, which is a
lot.
Well, a lot, yeah. Middle turret is now open up thanks to that. Thanks to, once again, Karont3 being dragged away by the big Mundos. We are going to see Crescendo coming in. They're going to try and lock down Celaver. They do manage to kill him. Super Mega Death Rocket comes through, but that won't connect with anyone, but they might lose Jankos from this one. Overpow just trying to chip them down with the spears. Won't be enough to save his teammate, and that will be a 2-for-0.
These are the kinds of opportunities that Karont3 need to take. But the problem is that even though they've just killed 2 people, they are the ones being pushed in. They've just lost the tower. Mundo's still applying pressure in the top lane. They just aren't close enough now in gold that even if they take a tower, they can take an objective off of it. So what can they do at this point? The answer seems to be just nothing unless they get an ace.
They need to go all in and get the job done. I mean, that was a great one, locking down Celaver, but if he's positioned correctly, he probably shouldn't be that far forward anyway to be in a position where he can't flat out escape from the Crescendo in the first place.
Yeah, flash stun engages. That's basically what Karont3 have. That is like the options list. That is the one thing that is on their list. That being said, they can't do that all the time. They do have, however, a couple of flashes up right now. Soon as Crescendo is up again, they should try and force an engage. But the problem is, as long as they feel threatened, KMT have almost no reason to be as aggressive as they were there. It's unlikely you'll see Celaver get caught out like that again.
Well, they're going to do Baron, and Celaver, of course, can attack it from over the wall here. They've got Overpow to zone them out completely, and this Baron is going down. This time they're not going to come off it, and Karont3 can't get anywhere near it, and there is the Baron going down. 8-6 in kills, 12,000 gold now they lead, 8-1 in turrets as well. Only the top outer turret died, and that died within, I want to say, 7-8 minutes of the game starting.
Yeah, Karont3 now looking really in a bad spot. neptuNo might die here.
Yeah, he's going to get caught out. Ace in the hole going to come through. Oh, well, he uses his ultimate on himself, which keeps him alive for a little while, but not for any longer than that. The inhibitors are now back up, but the super minions there with him as well. And I tell you what, with Lissandra now down for 30 seconds, they could get both inhibs. If they get one more kill, they might think about trying to end it.
Yeah, Xaxus is tanky enough that he can take tank turrets straight up very easily. And I also want to just note, by the way, he's built quite a lot of flat magic penetration here, basically for his cleaver base damage. But it just looked like they're going to go for it.
Yeah, they're going to go straight in for the fight. Tremnek dying under the tower, and Jankos Xaxus both so very tanky as Jimbone's getting hit here as well from Celaver. The Piltover did land, and there is an axe on Jankos. He's actually flashed back into the fountain, and now Jankos finds himself in a little bit of trouble. Fear comes down onto Dragon, but the rest of the team are hammering away in this whole time on those Nexus turrets, and both of them are going to go down from this one. Dragon has managed to force Xaxus to back away. His ultimate is running at this point, but I think KMT might have been faced off from this for a little while, but with Baron on, they're going to be regenning. They might just come straight back here in a second.
Yeah, they've got
no...
Well, they can. The world is their oyster at this point. They've got complete control over the map. They don't have to go back right now, but they will, just because they're going to buy more items, just because they're going to make their victory that little bit sweeter. And now they can either push the top or they can push the Nexus. And either way, honestly, it works for them. They're going to get double super minion waves if they go for that top tower. I don't see Karont3 defending that viably. They might not want to go for the Nexus straight up, just because with the spawn fountain that close, it's hard to push Karont3 back long enough to really poke it down. But even if they did do that, it's still actually not that impossible for KMT to just take the Nexus anyway.
Yeah, they could probably just rush in there, and Olaf going to be doing more damage as you attack him.
That's true, actually.
So
yeah.
you leave him at what is sat there attacking it with, or do you take him lower so he's hitting it faster? That's a hard one to call.
Kill the enemies.
Yeah,
that is basically the plan.
That is just kill him, but I'm not sure that they really can at this point. He has got a lot of health built up, very tanky with Aegis in there with the Sunfire Cape and the workings of that Randuin's Omen as well. They're trying to defend their final inhibitor here, but I'm not sure that KMT really care about that one too much. They're going to take it here just for the sake of it. As Tremnek catches the ace in the hole, that takes him down to less than half HP. Jankos being fought by Dragon here in the middle as well, but the fear comes down to Jimbones. He gets finished off. Xaxus not going to be locked up by the crescendo, and now they're going on to Eco as well. They want as many kills as they can before they finish off this game. Finally, they realize it's time. Finish off the in here, the Nexus, and take down Karont3. Karont3 now 0 for 4. Their chances are done. Gone. There's no way that they can qualify anymore, but KMT have really lit up this group now because we have so many possibilities still.
Good odds, essentially, for KMT now. They are not necessarily on equal footing with TCM, but they are in a good standing by comparison with anyone else. Okay, so we're going to bring that up, I assume, in just a second.
I'm going to refresh it first this time. So that it doesn't just randomly refresh as we go through. It's taking a sweet time, but it's going to go in there. Okay, so let's have a look at that then. These are the stand-ins right now. So the Wolves, 3 for 0. Super Hot Crew, 3 for 0. KMT now sat at 2 for 1. TCM are 2 for 2. STO 0-3 and Karont3 0 for 4. So let's try and break this one down because we're getting to that point now where we can make some pretty safe statements about this one, including the fact that Karont3 at 0 for 4 are not going to be able to qualify in that top 3. STO not out of the running just yet, but if KMT win one more game, they're out.
That would make sense as far as I can tell.
Yes.
Now, also though, if KMT do win another game, okay, so what matchups are actually left to play at this point for KMT? They've got what, 2 more games?
Yeah, they have to play Copenhagen Wolves, and they play TCM. So either way, it's coming down to the last game. It's all going to be about TCM versus KMT.
Can they come out on top? That's a difficult question to answer, honestly, at this point, because TCM have not been looking as good as we would have thought normally this tournament. Normally they're a really consistent, really solid team, but they just don't seem to have been having a lot of luck.
Just want to throw it out there as well that Super Hot Crew and Copenhagen Wolves aren't technically safe at this point, right? I mean, if they lose their next 2 games, the Wolves have to play versus KMT and also versus Super Hot Crew. Okay, so at least one of them is definitely safe because they play each other in their final game. But there's just so many different options.
The options will decrease as time goes by until we are left with a certainty. But certainly still a very, very interesting set of matchups, and I guess I can say commiserations to Karont3 at this point, though.
Yes, we can definitely say that one. 0-4 is the magic number of you can't qualify anymore, sadly. We could see that in our next game as well, because that will be... let me just double-check that before I tell you horrible lies. No, it wasn't going to be lies. It's Super Hot Crew versus STO. So that could actually put Super Hot Crew at 4-0 and STO at 0 for 4 at this point. So that would mean that at least 2 teams can't make it. And then it all comes down to this TCM versus... wow. How can a name disappear in that kind of time? I have no idea. It all comes down to TCM versus KMT, which will be our final game of the day. KMT can get a big one-up if they manage to beat the Wolves, but they'd still have to beat TCM because they could both end up 3-2 either way. It's all a very complicated stuff going on, but that's what happens when you've got the 6-team group. But we are going to be taking a quick break here, guys. When we come back, as I said, STO are going to try and pick up their first win of the tournament as they take on the Super Hot Crew, who are hoping that they don't suffer their first defeat of the tournament and guarantee themselves a place in promotion. We'll be right back with that game in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.